Next slide. So here's what's written in books that people read, people like you. What is life? I never read these books. You never see people like me read these books. This is the masses, but this is what they tell you. So here's this science writer, Regis. He says, life began with little bags of garbage, random assortments of molecules doing some crude kind of metabolism. That is stage one. The garbage bags grow and occasionally split into two, and the ones that grow and split fastest win. That's in his book on What is Life by Oxford University Press. Well, few origin of life researchers would state it so shamelessly. Nonetheless, little bags of garbage are precisely what they've been making. And those little bags of garbage have little more resemblance to living cells than a big bag of garbage to a horse. All right, next slide. So you say, well, that's a book from 2009. Well, let me show you the primary literature. 2018 in the journal Nature. This is our top journal. You want to see what Nature will publish in this area? None of us could get away with this except origin of life researchers do. This guy is Nobel laureate Jack Szostak. Here's what he writes on how did life begin. Let's go through it. I'm interested in it. How did life begin? I mean, the guy's a Nobel Prize winner. He must know. The early atmosphere had no oxygen. It consisted mainly of nitrogen, carbon dioxide with smaller amounts of hydrogen, water, and methane. Lightning, asteroid impacts, UV light from the sun acted on the atmosphere to generate hydrogen cyanide, a compound of hydrogen, carbon, and nitrogen. Raining into volcanic or crater lakes, the cyanide reacted with iron, brought up water circulating through rocks. The resulting iron cyanide compounds accumulated over time, building up into a concentration stew of reactive chemicals. Okay, cool. Where are we? Life, as we know it, requires RNA. Some scientists believe that RNA emerged directly from these reactive chemicals, nudged along by dynamic forces in the environment. Huh? Nudged has no, you can't put nudged in any of our articles. No scientist knows what nudged means. They don't know. Nucleotides, the building blocks of RNA, eventually formed, then joined together to make strands of RNA. Some stages of the process are still not well understood. You think? How do these things hook together? Show me the chemistry. It's not there. Once RNA was made, some strands of it become enclosed within tiny vesicles formed by spontaneous assembly of fatty acid lipids into membranes, creating the first protocells. As the membranes incorporated more fatty acids, they grew and divided. At the same time, internal chemical reactions drove replication of encapsulated RNA. That is nonsense. Next slide. Here is, next slide, the figure that he showed. This is the figure from Nature. This is his figure. Cyanide derivatives and simple sugars. Those are not sugars. He says this is oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus. That's fictitious. I don't know any sugars that have that chemical composition. You don't know that. He's lying to you. That's not real. Is this HCN? I mean, there should be a carbon, a nitrogen, and a hydrogen if that's HCN. And I'm colorblind, but I can see that's not really HCN. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's phosphate. I can see that. That'd be phosphorus, oxygen. Maybe that's phosphate. Okay. And then all of a sudden, boom, you got an RNA nucleotide. But the problem is that's not a nucleotide. It's the wrong structure. By far, that's the wrong structure. He didn't even put the right structure. At least he could have put the right structure. He didn't even put the right structure. Well, what's acting upon this to make it do this? Well, heat from here, UV light from there. Boom. Nobody knows. That's in Nature. That's not in an 8th grade textbook from 2018. People think I selectively choose these things from crazy places. No, this is Nature 2018. This is what confuses even professors. See this and they think, oh, yeah, people know. Nobody knows. This is a bunch of garbage. This is garbage. Next slide.